Let me bring up an aspect of reading from different scripts, the head of state and the deputy president during the prayer breakfast. In fact, let's hear what the deputy president had to say about church donations.
When I was preparing to do Standard 7 exams, CPE, that was called then, I remember very well when I went to do the exams, I was barefoot because, of course, that was the nature of the village life. We didn't have shoes. My father bought me my first shoe in 1981 from a Mr. Onyango on the street for 60 shillings because he could not afford the butter shoes. Why am I saying this? Today, as you can see, the gentleman who did not have shoes is sitting at the high table. With the son of the founding father. So the confession I want to make is when you see some of us go to church and pray and lift up our hands, sometimes shed tears, make this or that contribution, it is because we cannot forget where God has brought us from. I beg you to understand, some of us have more to thank God for than some of you.
Most Honorable Kuria.
Very unfortunate.
Why?
One, all of us have got enough reasons to thank God for. Doesn't matter what. You know, the same day, one day after, I met a journalist friend of mine whose car rolled on Friday night.
Yeah.
And she came out without, you know, a scratch. And you look at the car, you wonder, how did this journalist escape from this accident? Does she have a lesser reason to thank God than William Ruto? Who can measure what we have to thank God for? You know, I think, number two, I've always seen some people in this country would want to use their privilege and their wealth, and their backgrounds to ascend to power or to keep power forever. And that's wrong, and I'll criminalize it, and I will bastardize it for as long as I live. Equally, I cannot come and hold my poor background as a reason for some privilege or for some entitlement. I think I find it wrong. Because what does it matter whether I come from a rich background or a poor background? What do I want for this country? Where do I want to take this country? That's a conversation we need to have. And if you're not careful, you know, even Hitler came as a result of such kind of things that were happening before. And because people were angry at some things, and he sees the moment. And, you know, the rest is history, I don't need to explain. I think we need to take a chill pill in this country, whether you come from rich background or poor background.
Honorable Kosita.
I think I read from a different script from Moses Kuria. When we look at the majority of Kenyans resonate with that statement by the Deputy President, is actually a sign of hope that you, no matter your background, if you focus, trust in God, work hard, focus on your education and everything, you can become somebody irrespective of your background. That is the message that the Deputy President was trying to bring out, and he tries to bring it out every other time. Because how many Kenyans were privileged to wear a shoe from the time they could, their leg could fit into a shoe until up to now? Very few. The majority resonate with the statement by the Deputy President. And I think because of the level at which William Ruto is, then anything he says everybody has to really scrutinize it, get a binoculars, a microscope, and really try and pick out any other statement. What did he really mean? And but I think he meant well. Okay. He was just being proud of his background and happy to where he has reached, and he has a reason to thank God. And we all have our own various reasons to thank God. Okay. But it's just that he has opened up for his reasons, and I think there is really nothing wrong with that.
Sifuna, very briefly, I have to take a break. And you were irked by what he said. First of all,
let me say this. Any story of somebody rising from a humble background to a position of, say, a deputy president would be an inspiring story. Just except in William Ruto's case, because we know how he got there. It is quite hypocritical for you to want to attribute William Ruto's rise to some act of God or his faith in God or to hard work. I mean, we all know how William Ruto has ended up as a deputy president.
What are you attributing it?
Tell us.
This is somebody who has exploited the worst forms of politics to be able to rise to the top. He has exploited tribal mobilization of our politics.
As a member of ODM?
No. Let me say this. He didn't become a member of the deputy president in ODM.
No,
in
he was a member of the Pentagon.
Let me say this. Let me say this.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know, people want to pretend like they don't know the history of this country. In 2013, the campaigns that we saw in this country were not campaigns of unity, of bringing the people together. They exploited the fact of the ICC to be able to grab power. And that ICC movement was actually a tribal movement. And it is a known fact. So don't come and wax lyrical about how the Lord has been good to you. Yet you have risen on the backs of Kenyans.
Let me interject here.
Let Honorable Tiende come in, but I really have to take a break very briefly.
Let me say something about the clip we just saw. First of all, it demonstrates the point I was making earlier, that the president and his deputy are reading from different scripts, and nothing could be clearer than what we just saw. And if you were to play what the president said subsequently, then you'll see that they were reading from different scripts. Now, my problem is this. First of all, that prayer meeting, I have a problem with it. Because a prayer meeting should be for real prayers. It should be in supplication.
Absolutely.
It should be from the heart. It should not be an annual ritual where people go and say, we held the 17th annual prayer meeting. Secondly, the irony of it is demonstrated by what the deputy president said. And you've just seen a small clip of it. Why would it be that you are going to pray and then you start giving your life story? I mean, many of us have that life story. I agree with the Honorable Kositan that many people will associate and identify with that. I myself wore my first shoe when I was going to Form 1, and it was not new, it was my sister's shoe. But I don't go to church to start making that story, because when you go to church, you are supposed to listen, actually. Because I'm not a pastor. The deputy president is not a pastor. But more importantly, it demonstrates the irony of it, that we go there, the deputy president was actually speaking to the president. There's no one else he was addressing. He was explaining himself to the person he's supposed to deputize and explaining to him why he has to defy him in terms of giving large church donations, in terms of campaigning, and that's just wrong.